Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another 8 p.m. on a Monday show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're putting this one out across all the usual platforms. So wherever you are, you should be able to watch us. So I think we're on. Hi, Chris Davies, my good friend. Good to see you there. So we're on all the platforms, and look, there's really two major topics that I want to talk about tonight. One of them is the Charlie Kirk Memorial, which I watched last night. I'm sure some of you watching may have seen it as well, which was incredibly moving. And I'm going to go through the best bits from that I saw anyway. So we're going to chat about that. It's a monumental thing what happened. You know, as I sort of said, I think the assassination of Charlie Kirk is the most significant political assassination we've had in about 50 years. So it's kind of significant. So I want to talk about the memorial, the things that were said, and all matters around that. So hi, Freddie. By the way, I see Freddie from the Islamic Republic of Essex. Yeah, you should actually type that in Urdu, Freddie. I mean, if we're gonna play this game, let's go full Urdu. It's only a matter of time probably till I'll be doing these. I wonder, can my producer simultaneously, simulcast me in Urdu for all my Muslim fans? We're going to talk about that, and then want to chat about the recognition of Narnia by Keir Starmer yesterday. I want to talk about that because obviously the recognition. Oh, Jed says no, we can't do it in Urdu. That's okay, Jed. I'm sorry, Muslim fans, but you're just going to have to learn British. I mean, if you've been here long enough, you should. Otherwise, Nigel Farage is going to deport you, So we're going to talk about the whole recognition of the state of Israel, Palestine, which, of course, doesn't exist, has never existed, and never will exist. We're going to talk about those two topics. So hope that's all okay with you guys. I think those are the big issues. There is one other story in the background, which I'm sure I'll cover tomorrow on my podcast and whatnot. And that is just around about this time as we're putting this out, I understand there's a press conference in the White House, or somewhere anyway, President Trump and RFK Jr. And it's all about the cause of autism. Yeah. What is it that causes autism? Apparently, there's been a bit of a breakthrough. Now, don't have all the details, so I'm going to wait to see. But I understand that very, very common treatment is chances. I'll tell you what's a big issue: homeless. Boom. Apparently, a very popular medication that people take, according to RFK Jr. anyway, can cause autism. I can think of another one, but we'll wait to see what the White House says, shall we? So without further ado, obviously the last week has been very emotional insofar as it's been driven by the assassination of Charlie Kirk the week before, the Wednesday of the week before, and the shock that that's just sent through the political firmament has been incredible, especially in the States. Here in the UK, we talk about irrelevant things, don't we? But this is a major event, and it's changed a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff has changed, friends. And you're going to see some evidence of this as we go through the show. Jed, that's one reason, definitely. Yep, fluoride. In terms of what causes autism, I think childhood vaccinations need to be investigated, and I think this is what RFK Jr. has been doing. So let's wait to see what they come up with, shall we? It's certainly something we move. I'm just saying, Chris Davis is replying to me in Urdu. This could be my first ever Urdu broadcast. Yeah. In fact, I'm just getting in early, before Stormer makes it mandatory for us to show. Yes, Chris, thank you very much for that, whatever that is. Squiggle. Yes, I agree, whatever it is. Right, Charlie Kirk. So obviously, there's been a period of mourning, I suppose you would say, in America and around the world. Turning Point UK is part of Charlie Kirk's Turning Point organization. And so there's been a lot of stuff said, some horrible stuff said by the people on the left, horrible, horrible stuff. The sort of people who try to equate the cancellation of Jimmy Kimmel and, absolute no funny clown with the cancellation of Jimmy Kimmel with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And did you see them wearing their "We are all Jimmy, we are Jimmy"? Jimmy Kimmel has a YouTube platform with 20 million subscribers on it. Which I'm sure the studio built up for him. Yeah, these are the Be Kind people. Oh yes, Be Kind. And we've seen them celebrating it, celebrating a murder. Shocking, morally depraved. But the good people came together last night. And this is what I want to chat to you guys about. And so they came together in Arizona. I think it was at the Cardinals. Chris Davis continues to confound me by tweeting in Arabic. They came together in the Cardinals stadium, and I believe there was an overflow stadium as well, according to President Trump. So there was a huge crowd of basically the MAGA gang and the Turning Point USA gang all came together to celebrate, in many regards, the life of Charlie Kirk. It wasn't exactly a religious service, but it had religious overtones. And it's one of these things, as we go through what I'm going to show you, it's worth pointing out that, this is an American thing. The Brits don't really do this. We're a wee bit too more retentive, so we don't do it. But the Americans do this, and I felt that the thing that I watched last night was a curious hybrid of like a religious service, a revival service in some ways, and a political gathering as well. And all of Trump's top team were there. Everybody was there. That shows you the esteem in which Charlie Kirk was held. From the president and all the way down, they were all there. Now, I think that's almost unprecedented because you tend not to get the president and the vice president in the same space for obvious reasons. But that happened last night. The other thing to say is, I couldn't help but notice the irony of they were celebrating Charlie Kirk's life and talking about stuff behind bulletproof glass. So again, the kind people. Yes, Chris Davies, I completely agree with what you've just said there. They are absolutely what you say, Chris. And, there's just no doubt about it. I've seen stuff in the past 10 days since Charlie Kirk was killed on social media that, I've seen some awful stuff. I've seen people saying, yeah, it's a pity his wife and kids weren't killed. Why stop with Charlie? There's lots of other people we should be shooting as well. And this is how they are. Be under no illusion, the left have shown their true colours. And we'll talk about this in a wee bit. But first off, I want to play you a short clip of the Defense Secretary, Marco Rubio. Now, we're going to play this in a second, but just to set it up, I mean, Marco Rubio isn't the most, sort of out there character I've come across. He's quite reserved, and nothing wrong with that. It's just his style. He's not like Trump. But he spoke last night, and I thought he spoke with some fire. So let's just play a minute or so of Marco Rubio.
His deep belief that we were all created, every single one of us, before the beginning of time, by the hands of the God of the universe, an all-powerful God, who loved us and created us for the purpose of living with him in eternity. But then sin entered the world and separated us from our Creator. And so God took on the form of a man and came down and lived among us. And he suffered like men. And he died like a man. But on the third day, he rose unlike any mortal man. And to prove any doubters wrong, he ate with his disciples so they could see, and they touched his wounds. He didn't rise as a ghost or as a spirit, but as flesh. And then he rose to the heaven, but he promised he would return, and he will. And when he returns, because he took on that death, because he carried that cross, we were freed from the sin that separated us from him. And when he returns, there will be a new heaven and a new earth, and we will all be together, and we are going to have a great reunion there again with Charlie and all the people we love. Thank you, and God bless you.
Yeah, I thought that was that's pretty good, pretty energized from Marco, and it is quite an evangelistic thing that he just said, But bear in mind, like these are people grieving the loss of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk couldn't be there last night, so they were grieving his loss. So you can understand why, Marco was saying the stuff that he said. But I thought he spoke well, and I was kind of pleasantly surprised. Now, one guy that I wasn't surprised about who spoke superbly is my namesake, JD. JD Vance, the vice president, who was a friend. We should say, before we get this going, JD Vance was a friend of Charlie Kirk. They were pals, they'd known each other. So, right throughout this whole awful 11, 12 days, JD Vance has been there along with his wife to support Erica Kirk from the beginning, from taking the coffin onto the plane to fly it home. JD Vance has been there, and JD Vance has had flashes of, I would say, righteous anger. I totally don't blame him. If someone murdered any of my friends, I would be angry. And we'll talk about the contrast between different people, most notably Erica Kirk, in terms of how they react to this. But JD Vance was a friend of Charlie Kirk's. He knew Charlie Kirk, and this is what he had to say.
Charlie suffered a terrible fate, my friends. We all know it. We all saw it. But think, it is not the worst fate. It is better to face a gunman than to live your life afraid to speak the truth. It is better to be persecuted for your faith than to deny the kingship of Christ. It is better to die a young man in this world than to sell your soul for an easy life with no purpose, no risk, no love, and no truth. Christ told us in the Gospel of John, I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world. Charlie took heart, and now we must do the same. I've seen so many of you say, so many on social media, talk about for Charlie. We must do this for Charlie. For Charlie, we will speak the truth every single day. For Charlie, we will rebuild this United States of America to greatness. For Charlie, we will never shrink, we will never cower, and we will never falter, even when staring down the barrel of a gun. For Charlie, we will remember that it is better to stand on our feet defending the United States of America and defending the truth than it is to die on our knees. My friends, for Charlie, we must remember that he is a hero to the United States of America and he is a martyr for the Christian faith. May our Heavenly Father give us the courage to live as Charlie lived. That is what we must do for Charlie. You ran a good race, my friend. I love you. We've got it from here. Thank you.
Yeah, so that was pretty powerful stuff. I hope you would agree. From JD Vance. I mean, I really, really hope that what you just heard there was that's the words of a future president. That will be the next president, I hope, in 2028, so that you'll have to put up with me then talking about President Vance every day. It'd be great. Can't wait. But those were powerful words. And, Jed's right here. He says it feels like a rebirth of Christianity, and actually, that would be the highest tribute that you could pay Charlie Kirk. A rebirth of the Christian spirit, not just in the States, actually, I might say, but everywhere. That would make the martyrdom, worthwhile. Still a terrible loss, obviously, of his family. But J.D. Vance spoke really well, and you can tell there's an anger in there as well. Understandably, you lose a friend, you're angry, but he put it beautifully. He spoke well, and he's spoken well throughout all of this. So, I am absolutely confident that we've got President Trump, God willing, to 2028, and we can have J.D. Vance from 2028 to 2032. That's my prayer, because I think that would be good, not just for America, but for the whole world. I think having JD in the White House and in the Oval Office, he's young, and he. Hello, James Jameson. It is something that I really sort of fervently hope that will happen. Right, I want to move on to this bit, the next bit, which is really emotional. So the major figures in the administration spoke. There's other people spoke. Tucker Carlson spoke. Not sure I agreed with the way the approach he took, by the way. And there's a few others spoke as well. Some of them were good too. But obviously this was really all about Charlie, and of course his wife, who had to deal with the loss of her husband, and so it is that the moment came last night when Erica Kirk took the stage. Now we're going to play it in a second, but just to set it up, I mean, can you imagine the enormity of what she's gone through? She was there when her husband was murdered, with the kid. I think the kids were there as well, 2, 3, and 1 year old. So she's gone to hell and back in the last 11 days. And I don't know how she found the courage to make a speech, but she did make a speech, and it was a very good speech. But there was one element in the speech where the crowd fell silent, and I'm going to play it, and then we'll react to it. Play the clip.
Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. That man, that young man, I forgive him.
So yeah, it's quite extraordinary. I think you'll agree. I see your comments. Just about everyone I know has said the same thing. I couldn't say that. I couldn't do it. I definitely couldn't do that. James Jameson, I couldn't do that. I wouldn't have the strength. I would be consumed with rage. I wouldn't be able to do it. But it speaks volumes for Erica. She that's the Christian spirit. She forgave her husband's killer, which is what we're commanded to do in the Bible. That's the essence. That's actually the essence of Christianity. You just saw it. That's it. Now, I'm going to come to President Trump in a minute. Don't worry, I'm getting there. But the fact that she's in the eye of the storm, and she found the strength to say that. So it was one of those moments where, but I think it's good, because I think it is the Christian spirit. That's the essence of it. Yes, Jed, it's the power of goodness. It's unbelievable. So, I mean, I listened when I was watching this last night. My wife was in the room with me, And obviously, my wife has to suffer more than you lot do because she gets the running commentary from me about, oh, that's that and the other. During Erica's speech, I was silent and I couldn't speak. I'm only be able to can speak about it now, really. And it was extraordinary. It was absolutely extraordinary. And how that woman could find that strength, well, the answer is it's in her Christian faith. She's a real thing. I also think, by the way, just to move it slightly, that whilst Turning Point USA was massively successful under Charlie, I think it's going to be even more successful under Erica. She is a remarkable woman. She is a lioness. And, you know, I think that the best, our friend Grantonio from our podcast joins me. He says, at the moment, Eric Kirk is the most powerful woman in the world. Yes, she is. And she said some really, I mean, she destroyed feminism last night. If you listen to what she said, she commanded women to love their husbands, but also, you know, just to do all the right things. And that's just common sense. No one, it's not radical, this really. None of it's radical, even though the BBC called it, by the way, a far-right rally. Can you imagine a far-right rally? Sarah Smith, that execrable BBC POS, called Charlie Kirk and those around him far-right. Disgraceful. But anyway, that was the moment. That was an absolute moment there. And then, of course, it came to the president. Now, I'm going to play President Trump in a second. Trump is quirky. Like, there's no doubt about it. I love it. In my own curious way, I think I'm a bit quirky too. And I like the eccentric. But he's comforting. And he spoke. And this was following Erica's stunning speech. And listen to what President Trump had to say. Now.
He did not hate his opponents. He wanted the best for them. That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent. And I don't want the best for them. I'm sorry. I am sorry, Erica. But now Erica can talk to me and the whole group, and maybe they can convince me that that's not right, but I can't stand my opponent. Charlie's angry. Looking down, he's angry at me now. He wasn't interested in demonizing anyone. He was interested in persuading everyone to the ideas and principles he believed were good, right, and true. Before each appearance, he prayed these words: God, use me for your will. Always said the same thing. Use me for your will.
So that was Trump. And I mean, you know, kind of classic Trump. I see some comments coming in. This is not the moment. I don't want to hear your comments. So, I mean, in moments of great grief, humor is actually a release valve. And I think that's what President Trump was trying to do. He was trying to release a bit of humor in a very, very somber circumstance. So I appreciated everything President Trump had to say. He does it in his own way. But I totally appreciated it. And I think Erica did as well. And that's just Trump being Trump, you know. And I have to say, and I'm sure a lot of you might be like me, I am more like that than I am Erica. Yes, James, it's peak Trump. I hate now he was doing it for the theatrical effect. I don't think he hates his every opponent. I certainly don't hate my opponents, but you know, I can't turn the other cheek in the same way that Erica could, and following the loss of her husband. I can't do that. So anyway, Donald Trump, he kind of rounded things off, but there was another moment which we should talk about, which I think will encourage everybody. Certainly I felt good about. And that was, it's not so many months ago since there was the acrimony, the big fallout between President Trump and Elon Musk. And, you know, I found that very difficult because I like both men. I like Trump's a consummate politician, but don't underestimate Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a great guy in so many ways, super genius. And there's a clip I think we've got where we're going to play now in a second. And this is when for the first time in a long time, Trump and Elon came together, sat together, and shook hands. Play the clip.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Secretary Kirk.
Right, that's it. So there you go. That's the key clip. Elon and Trump together, and it looked good. I did actually, yes, Nicole. It was heartwarming. I was very pleased to see the two of them together, because let's be clear. Trump and Musk are a pretty much unstoppable force, and it was unfortunate that they fell out. That can sometimes happen when you get super egos in the room, But I also heard, we don't have the clip to play, but Elon Musk was asked before the whole thing to comment on it, and he spoke really well. He spoke, yes, Nicole, it was heartwarming. Elon spoke almost like a Christian. There was a few things he said that I thought was really, really good. And then, of course, to finish the thing off, at the very, very end, Trump was joined by Erica. So we're going to play this clip. This is quite moving as well. So watch this. Okay, so
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much, and good luck. God be with you. Thank you.
So there we go, friends. That was the sort of the final moment of the event. You can see, I think, Trump comes across as the ultimate comforting kind of grandfather figure. Look, he even managed to get, he got a smile out of her. I'm surprised he didn't do YMCA. It was an amazing send-off, as James says here. The role of Trump was central to it all. So I was very yes. Nicole says, I'll never forget how Charlie advocated for us and for our free speech. Yeah. Now there's something. Okay, so those were just some moments. The thing lasted for several hours. I just wanted to give you just a sort of a smattering of the bits that got to me, basically. So. Hopefully, maybe they got to you as well. A couple of issues have come out of this, though. First of all, people have said, well, Erica said that she forgives him, so that's it then. Nah, she's forgiven him, which is the ultimate act of Christian sacrifice. But the Bible also tells us that render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. The penalty for murder, if proven in the state of Utah, is execution. I hope that will be done. Charlie isn't here to forgive Antonio. You're right, but I think that the forgiveness has been done by Erica, and now the state has to implement the law, which is what Charlie would have wanted. And I don't see any contradiction between forgiving him, the killer, and also then the state implementing the law, which is his execution. I want to see him executed. Surely most people would agree with me. We don't have Eric. I didn't know Charlie at all. So, my loss is like a million times removed. And the fact that Eric has been able to show this incredible selfishness selfishness, and not and not harbor hatred is stunning. But the law still has to be implemented. So that's the first thing, because I see some lefties dancing around saying, oh, yeah, well, that's it then. And Nicole says forgiveness is a very personal thing. It is, Nicole, and it's an admirable thing. And Grantonio says it's now between the killer and God. Yes. Well, we do need to say, and this is the whole point, really. Charlie was a nice guy. He wanted to debate. He wanted to argue. He wanted to reason with his opponents. In fact, the thing that I find still amazing, the thing he did, if you went to one of his Turning Point USA events and you were you completely opposed him, Charlie brought you to the front of the queue. He loved to argue with the people who disagreed with him the most. That's the measure. I mean, it's some people have said he's almost like a St. Paul figure, and I understand that. So no, I don't think so, Chris. I don't think so. But you need to check with Peter, my friend Peter McElvenna of Hearts of Oak, just who we're talking about. But the thing is, Chris, Jed and we were supposed to do a show with Charlie Kirk last year on this platform, and for different reasons it didn't happen. And obviously it's one of those things I look back and think, oh God. But you don't know. I mean, you don't know what's around the corner. That's just the truth of the matter, Chris. But I would have loved to have had Charlie on with me, and we were supposed to do it. But again, I just take that. Well, that was God's decision. Ultimately, it didn't happen. So back to the whole thing about the shooter. Like the other thing is, for the left to be pretending, oh, he was a conservative. That's what Jimmy Kimmel got cancelled over. Jimmy Kimmel was spreading fake news. Jimmy Kimmel said that, he's one of the conservatives. He's one of the MAGA gang that shot Charlie. No, he wasn't. He evidently was not. He was a gay guy in a relationship with another gay guy who was wanting to be a woman and also a furry. That's not the trademarks of MAGA, friends. It's not the trademarks of MAGA. And yet, it is, Grantonio, dangerous fake news. And the other thing that I wanted to say here, we're going to move on to Palestine in a minute. Don't worry, we'll get there. But I also wanted to say, incendiary rhetoric is dangerous. Words do have impact. If you go around demonizing people as Nazis, as extreme right, as fascists, then there will be people who listen to that and think, yeah, he's a far-right extreme Nazi. And they will then act on it. That's essentially what happened to Charlie Kirk. Charlie knew that there was risk, there was danger in all of this. He wasn't naive. Once you're going into that young university crowd, they're a lot of them are very radicalized. But it's the language. And I wanted to bring it back to the UK now, because we've had the likes of Keir Starmer describe the people who gathered for the Tommy Robinson United Kingdom rally as far right. We've had Sarah Smith of the BBC describe Charlie Kirk as far right. And as for the language used by many Labour MPs here, absolutely appalling. So these people, especially here in the UK, are still using the incendiary language. They're demonizing people like Nigel Farage, and anyone at all. Tommy Robinson, obviously, all the people that spoke at the Tommy Robinson rally, and then all the way down to people like me as extreme far right Nazis. And somewhere there will be some lunatic thinking, well, we can't be having far right Nazis speaking. Maybe I'll stab them. Guns might be outlawed in the UK, but knives aren't, are they? Machetes seem to be very popular in parts of the UK. So, I think, as is pointed out here in the stream, President Trump should move against, and there's been a suggestion of this, that the regulating authorities may look at those bodies like ABC, which hosted Jimmy Kimmel, and review, should they be given their broadcasting license, which is worth vast sums to them, when they have people like Jimmy Kimmel come on, and there's others as well. It's not just Jimmy Kimmel, but the thing is that language has consequences, and so when the left now cry about cancel culture, I say it's not cancel culture, it's consequence culture. You say what you want. I'm not going to stop you saying what you want. Honestly, I'm not. Don't have to hear you, mind you, but you can say what you want. But I think that that your words have consequences to your employer, to the organization in which you work, perhaps. And that's something tens of thousands have found out in the past week. Basically, it's been a massive FAFO, if you know what I mean by the word FAFO. That's what's happened. And I'm happy about it. I'm also happy that Antifa are being declared a terrorist organization in the US. I would ask you the question, what's the situation here in the UK? Any thoughts on that? Tumbleweed. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the US now. I'm going to jump in my aircraft and come back here to the UK, and I want to talk about just another low, just another. Ever since Labour got in, everything politically has been awful. It's been grim. It's been absolutely grim. There's a reason why Keir Starmer's popularity ratings are, in the toilet. There's a reason why all the polls show Labour getting wiped out anytime they go to the polls, which is why they'll try to avoid it. But the money markets might have second views about that. And of course, what I wanted to talk to you about is the fact that yesterday, shamefully, the United Kingdom recognized Palestine. Oh, yes. Starmer made a big speech about it. He was one of those, it's pity our friend Grantonio, who's on this YouTube stream here, I think, or no, on the X stream. He does a very good Keir Starmer impersonation. It's pity you can't come in, Grantonio, and do this one. But, anyway, the UK has recognized Narnia. And the similarities between Narnia, the mythical kingdom in C.S. Lewis's world, and Palestine, it's the same. In fact, actually, there's greater evidence for Narnia than there is Palestine. Let's be clear. As I've asked several Labour MPs today, tell me, where's the capital of Palestine? Where are the borders of Palestine? Who is the leader of Palestine? Point me to the constitution of Palestine. It doesn't exist. Yeah, there we go. And there's the response. Look at that. This enraged me. Starmer said, oh, no, I'm not rewarding Hamas. Hamas have declared a victory after this UK recognition. This was a good day for Hamas and a bad day for civilization, a bad day for Israel, obviously, a bad day for anyone who hates terrorists. So, and it's, British governments have a habit of capitulating to terrorism. I mean, in my lifetime, they did it with the IRA. They capitulated to the IRA, something I was directly involved in trying to stop, but couldn't stop it. And this has also been something that Labour said they were going to do, and they've done it. And there's that robot Starmer, hardly an emotion on his face, just telling us that, yes, we have declared Palestine as a state, even though it's not a state, even though it won't be a state, it never has been a state, and it never will be a state. There you go. There's your truth about Palestine. But, the thing about it is that this here, oh God, I wonder wonder if we can play this clip. The Palestinian flag has been raised at a ceremony in London.
That is, I think that is the plan. There was a plaque shown to us here, not quite unveiled. It's not yet on the building, but we are told that it soon should be. I think many people standing here today wanted this moment to happen 70 years ago. They say it is long overdue. And as the Palestinian ambassador to the UK raised that flag today, he talked about the colours on the flag and the symbolism of those colours. He said black is for our mourning, white is for our hope, green for our land.
All right, so sound gone, dodgy sound. What's red for? Is that red for the murder of the Israelis on October the 7th? Is that what the red's for? Yeah. So they've raised their Palestinian flag. I saw in Bradford they were raising the Palestinian flag as well. I mean, Bradford, which is evidently not even a British city anymore, essentially a Palestinian city. So you can see how this one's breaking down. And it wasn't just the UK, because Canada and Australia, the Anglosphere outside the US, has also joined in this recognition of Palestine. Paul. I put this up earlier. This is in Bradford. Look at this. Just play it in the background. Look at look. There you go. Look, there's the Palestinian flag, the flag of Narnia being flown in Bradford. And I bet you no one will take that one down. Now, if that was the Union flag or the Cross of St. George, they'd be, we can't have that. But there you go. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, it tells you all you need to know about really what's going on. Yesterday, Stormer rewarded the forces of darkness. But why did he do it? And well, it's we're going to get to that. Yeah. Also, but yeah, let's bring that one up. Yeah, bring that. And of course, Diane Abbott also recognized plasticine. Need a bit of levity to lighten me up a bit. So that was the reason that Stormer has done this, and this is why it's so dark, is couldn't care less. You don't actually think he cares about the Palestinians, do you? Or the Israelis? No, he cares about him. And Stormer's having a very rough time. And his backbenchers and his cabinet, they're fervently pro-Palestinian. So I believe that he's done this to essentially buy himself a bit of time from his own backbenchers. And then, of course, there's the Muslim vote, which is a key vote for Labour. And that vote's being challenged by some of if ever Jeremy Corbyn and Sarah Sultana get their act together, it looks unlikely, but if they did, then clearly some Muslim votes will go to them. And that would further weaken and destroy Labour. So I think Stormer took the view. I've got, here's another clown, John Swinney, First Minister of Scotland. He's super stoked about this. Oh, he's so excited. Look, there he is at the raising of the, I'm not sure where this flag's being raised actually, but anyway, the Palestinian flag. I mean, the SNP care more about Palestinians than they do about Scotland. More concerned about Gaza than Glasgow. That's the SNP. That's the absolute clown world of Scottish politics at the moment. And there they are in the background. Same demographic, mind you, it has to be said. There's an unholy alliance between the feral left and the Muslim vote. There's an unholy alliance, and it all circulates around this issue. Our friend James McCambridge says here, the left hate the Jews. Oh, they do. They absolutely do. And actually, there's another irony. I mean, irony of ironies. So yesterday, Stormer recognized this non-existent state as a direct insult to Israel, completely, and to President Trump, by the way. Now that the minute Trump took off from Air Force One back to the States, this was all the plotting. That's what it was all about. And the thing is that Stormer wanted to do this desperately. The SNP wanted desperately. And it is because it's fundamentally deep hatred of Jewish people and Israel. It really is. You have to pick an insult to his wife, who is, of course, Jewish. Yes, that's my point, Antonio. Today, the day we're talking here, this is the Jewish New Year. And, I couldn't believe it. The official government, this is Shana Tova wishing, I put this out to all my Jewish friends, followers. Shana Tova, happy New Year to all of you. But Stormer, the UK government, was sending their best wishes to Israel, having just recognized Hamastan the day before. What? Is it just me? Does anyone else think that's like the ultimate gaslighting? Gaslighting. Yeah, this was a very good clip, actually. I wonder if we can play this one from Jake Wallace Simmons. If we can play this, it's worth hearing. So I stuck it up. Listen to this. You can. I don't know if we can get the sound going, but no, can't get the sound. No, we're just gonna have to listen to the words. Yeah, it's not as basically saying that that Stormer has put Britain on the same side as the terrorists, and Jake's absolutely right. But it's a good clip that you should listen to it if you get a chance. But you can see that the sheer cynicism of Labour. You recognise Palestine yesterday, and today you wish Israel a Happy New Year. Same. But here's the thing for you. Where's the Palestinian capital? Any thoughts? Which one's it? Where's it found? Who's the leader of Palestine? Who's the top guy? Where are the borders of Palestine? Because what's the constitution of Palestine? No. Exactly. There's none of these things because it doesn't exist. It's all made up. It's all made up. That's the point. Yeah, this is another absolute clown here. So Canada joined the US and UK in celebrating, marking the existence of Narnia. And then Mark Carney comes out and says, Jewish Canadians are all coming together to celebrate Rosh Hashanah. But you just celebrated. You just marked. You rewarded Hamas. There's hostages still held by Hamas. It shows you what a liar Stormer is. Stormer said that he would not recognize Palestine, so-called Palestine, until all the hostages had been released. Well, so much for that. That is the nature of Keir Starmer. People sort of said, what is Keir Starmer's real values? Well, I think we know what his real values is. And yes, James, this is another point. People talk about, I want to talk about the two-state solution. Yeah, here's another one. Yeah, look at this. Yesterday, or in the last couple of days, they were executing people in Gaza. Palestinians were executing people suspected of passing on information to Israel. They blindfolded them and put them to death. That's what Stormer's rewarding. That's what Carney is rewarding. That's what the Europeans will reward, undoubtedly. They are rewarding, murder. Now, back to the two-state solution, because I got so much crap about this, we need to blow away. In 2005, we tried a two-state solution. Israel pulled right out of Gaza, and it handed Gaza over to Palestinians. And what happened? Well, there was a big fight, pretty much in a very short period, between Hamas and the Palestinian Authority. Long and the short of it was the Hamas killed the several prominent Palestinians of the different political persuasion and imposed themselves in power. And there hasn't been an election since. 20 years, no elections. The people of Gaza supported Hamas, and that's why Hamas have stayed in power. So, honest to God, this is James Jameson says this. You can't have a two-state solution when one state wants to genocide the other state. And if people want to come crying to me, but what about Magaza? Tell you what, maybe if you didn't try events like Northern Monkey says, two-tier care to two-state care. Yeah, good one. Good point. October 7th has consequences. And I don't necessarily agree with everything Israel does. I don't agree with necessarily everything Netanyahu does. But what I would say is this. If you look at what's going in, when the Palestinians were given their mini statelet, which is what Gaza was, look at what they did with it. Look at what they turned it into. They turned it into a vast terrorist camp. And now the British government saying, oh, well, what we need to do is we need to make it a bigger terrorist camp. We're going to take a bit of the West Bank maybe, and then we'll take a bit of Gaza, maybe a bit of Hebron, and we try and meld it together, even though it's non-continuous and all the rest of it. It's completely insane what the British government is trying to do here. But they're just virtue signaling to their own backbenchers and to Muslim voters. Now, I'm not sure what the position in Canada is. I don't know enough about Canadian politics or indeed Australian politics. Perhaps there's a significant Muslim base in both those countries as well. So maybe it's all the same thing. But as a Brit, I can tell you, I felt shame yesterday when this, it was, they trailered it. They were always going to do it. I felt a sense of shame when I saw that the UK had, recognized the so-called fantasy state. And then, of course, the Irish get in the act as well. Simon Harris, the Taoiseach, says, it's good to see more countries recognize Palestinian statehood. It's important, but to be clear, it's nowhere near not enough. What we now need to do is real action to stop the genocide and the famine. Work that should never be normalized. Well, so hang on a wee second. What are you going to do? Because I see our two other things have happened you should know about. Number one, Mahmoud Abbas, the ludicrous head of the Palestinian Authority, has come out and said, thank you very much, Sir Keir, for recognizing us. Appreciate that. By the way, yes, we're going to play that video in a second. By the way, we'd like 2 trillion in reparations from 1917 to 1947. You owe us 2 trillion. Okay, well, everyone good with that? 2 trillion. And then Yvette Cooper, the ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous foreign secretary, she pipes up and she warns Israel. Israel better not do anything to annoy the Palestinians. Or what? What will you do, Yvette Cooper? Well, you know what she's going to do, and I know what she's going to do. Now, not all European nations, of course, have jumped on the Palestine bandwagon. And one that didn't was Italy. So Giorgio Meloni had to contend with this. So you're looking there at this was pro-Palestinian protesters in Antifa in Milan train station. I've been here in this train station, and they basically went on the rampage because she wouldn't recognize Palestine in quotation marks. Therefore, this is what you get. And see, these people are thugs. That's why Antifa should be declared a terrorist organization everywhere in the civilized world. But here they are with their masks on, causing havoc in Milan train station. And I suspect it's not entirely coincidental that Milan has one of the highest concentrations of migrants from the third world, certainly in Italy. It's sad, actually, what's happened to Milan. But, they obviously, yes, rocket science engineers, I'm not sure, or just, I don't know, let me think, thugs. But there you go. As I've pointed out there in my own stream, Palestinian supporters are vile and often violent. This is the violence of the left. Charlie Kirk's assassination was met with prayer vigils. This is met with riots. Do you see the difference? If ever you wanted to know what's the difference between good and evil, it's there, right there. That's how the left do things. And Nicole's right. They tried to kill Andy No twice. I mean, the Antifa is an extraordinarily dangerous organization, but I don't see much evidence of Stormer wanting to do anything about it. Now, this is a good point that James has brought up here. Stormer says Hamas will have no future role, but they were democratically elected by the Gazans, as I said, in 2005, 2006. So if there's elections tomorrow, and the Gazans re-elect them, which I think they would, what's Stormer going to do about it? What is Stormer going to do about it? He's going to do as much as Yvette Cooper. It's truly pathetic. This is rewarding Islamic terrorism, Islamic jihad. It's what it is. And you see it, and Giorgio Meloni is going to be under great pressure to bend the knee in Italy and recognize so-called Palestine. I hope she doesn't. But I mean, I'm sure most of the rest of the EU will, because this is this was a funny one. Amused me. Wall Street Mav says, breaking news: Israel has just announced that they formally recognize Great Britain as a Palestinian state. So much truth in that jest. So much truth in that. I thought that was so on the money. Israel's recognizing the UK as a Palestinian state. Grantonio asked a great question. Why isn't Trump leaning on Starmer? And this is the mystery for me. I don't get it. I like so much about President Trump. I really hate this special relationship with Starmer. I don't understand it, is the truth of the matter. It depresses me. But at the end of the day, this will boomerang back in Stormer anyway. It'll boomerang back. As I say, Mahmoud Abbas wants $2 trillion in reparations, right? And then the Irish have been piling and saying, we need to stop all supply of arms to Israel. We need to disarm Israel. Well, have I good news for you, Ireland and the rest of the European Union? It's America that arms Israel. How do you think that's going to work out then? Because let's be clear, this decision yesterday by the British government to go back to the Starmer-Trump relationship, that will not please Trump at all. I think he said as much. And I've seen other great comments on this one today from US ambassadors. Mike Huckabee, I saw him make a comment about it. I saw a really good comment from the Israeli ambassador to the US, who basically compared Starmer to Neville Chamberlain. Neville Chamberlain, appeasement. Didn't work. Appeasing Hamas and the Palestinian Authority, it won't work. But it buys a little time for Starmer in number 10, and that's a priority. This is a good one. This is the House, and so it's back to the US. The House Foreign Affairs Committee said recognition of a state of Palestine is empty virtue signaling that only rewards the Hamas butchers and rapists. Amen. Completely agree with that. That's what it is. And James is right. It helps distract from Starmer's own woes as a failing government. His government is a shambles. We see this right across the piece, and on everything. They've proven to be so inept. That's why the opinion polls are showing that if there was an election tomorrow, there would be a massive reform majority. David Lammy has apparently also hinted that the children of those studying at British universities may also be allowed into the UK. What joy! We're going to have even more Hamas voters coming to the UK because it shows our humanity. It doesn't. I mean, David Lammy apparently he may be the guy who replaces Lord Mantelson, by the way. There's a suggestion that might be a role he take on. I don't know. But yeah, so we're going to bring more Gazans. Who feels good about having Gazans in the UK? Eh? What could possibly go wrong with importing those who have happily voted for Hamas terrorists for years? And here's the bit that got me. This is Yvette Cooper saying, the UK warns Israel, don't you dare retaliate. Or what? What are you going to do against Israel? Israel should instantly stop sharing any intelligence with the UK. That'll teach her a lesson. But James says, David Lammy couldn't open a door. He hasn't the brains to do so. Antonio says here, Lammy opining on education. I know you got to laugh at the stupidity of it. James, the Lammy comment. I'm going to read some of them out. Lammy is why safety instructions are on the shampoo bottles. It's just sad. You would think, by the way, bringing these Gazans to be given treatment on our NHS, you would think that, so there's no waiting lists in the UK then. Same for houses. No waiting lists for houses, apparently not. If you want to get to the top of the queue, say you're Gazan, and you might do well out of this accursed government. But look, friends, there you have it. It's been a momentous week or so. The recognition of so-called Palestine is an absolute historic low for the UK. Let's call it out for what it is. So that's on the negative side. But the very humbling and uplifting celebration of the life of Charlie Kirk and the legacy of Charlie Kirk is a positive thing. So I think what we should do is we should accentuate the positive. And, you know, I am sure reality will catch up with Keir Starmer and those around him. And, trying to appease in order to buy himself a little temporary time will not work out for him in the long term. So look, that's all that we've got a picture of Charie to bring up here, I think, at the end to finish on maybe. As I said, it's been quite a wild ride over the past 10 days for me. And, those of us who follow American politics, it's been tough. But listen, as our friend said, a couple of people, I agree with your comments. We're all Charlie now. Grantonio says, God bless America. And James says, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Like, that's it from me for tonight. Join me tomorrow over on my podcasts, in my Substacks, and all the usual places. But from me for tonight, it's good night.